Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the invisible and honestly kind of mind-blowing chemical warfare happening right on your cutting board every single time you prep a meal. You probably just think of garlic and onions as the flavor base for tonight's dinner, right? But they're actually packing an incredibly sophisticated array of biological weapons and cellular armor. We're going to unlock the science of why they make you cry, how they literally fight off disease, and why you might actually be cooking them completely wrong. Let's get into it.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to meet the allium family, explore that cutting board chemistry I mentioned, dive into protective flavonoids, look at the full body health benefits, and wrap up with exactly how to maximize these nutrients in your own kitchen.
All right, Section 1. Meet the allium family, the savory steeples of human history. Now, when we talk about this plant family, we're looking at foods that have been absolute staples in human diets for thousands of years. And we aren't just talking about a couple of random plants here. There are between 500 to 800 species in this vast genus that is a huge family tree. For millennia, we've relied on these plants not just for mere survival, but to make our food taste, well, incredible. They bring these deep, savory, umami flavors to the table that can easily swap out excess salt and sugar in our cooking. It's really a massive win-win for healthy eating.
And while they all share that massive family tree, the culinary all-stars we reach for the most definitely have their own distinct personalities. You've got garlic, obviously known for its intense, potent, sulfurous punch. Then you have onions, your reds, yellows, whites, each bringing a totally different flavor intensity and varying levels of antioxidants. We've got leeks offering this nice, mild, sweet base for winter stews, shallots bringing that delicate gourmet profile, and chives giving us that subtle, fresh onion essence as a garnish. But here's the thing, beyond just making food taste great, every single one of these packs a really dense nutritional punch. We're talking vitamin C, B vitamins like folate, vitamin K, and some amazing gut-friendly prebiotic fiber.
Moving on to Section 2, the cutting board chemistry, triggering the defense system. So let's zoom in a bit to the microscopic level here. It's a totally universal kitchen experience, right? You take a knife to an onion and suddenly your eyes are burning and tearing up. Or you crush a clove of garlic and boom, that incredibly sharp, unmistakable aroma just instantly fills the room. But what is actually happening when you slice into these vegetables? Because think about it, they definitely don't smell like that when they're just sitting whole on your counter.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core secret of the whole allium family. That sharp taste and pungent aroma, they aren't just sitting there passively waiting for you. They are actively created in real time. It's literally a defense mechanism kicking in when the plant realizes it's under attack by your knife. Scientists call these organosulfur compounds. Basically, think of them as secondary metabolites that act as the plant's internal built-in security system. And they are only produced when the plant's tissue is damaged, whether that's a wild bug taking a bite or you crushing it on a cutting board. Let's look at exactly how this biological trap is actually sprung. It's honestly a lot like a two-part epoxy glue. So, step 1, inside the intact whole garlic, you have these completely harmless precursor amino acids, like alliin, just floating around. Step 2, in a totally separate cellular compartment, there's an enzyme called alliinase. Now, as long as the plant is whole, these two never ever meet. But step 3, the exact moment you chop or crush that garlic, you break those cell walls down. The enzyme rushes in, mixes with the precursor, and boom, an instant conversion happens, creating a highly reactive, potent biological weapon right there on your counter.
In the case of garlic, the undeniable star of this reaction is a newly formed compound called allicin. And the crucial takeaway here is that allicin acts as the plant's first responder. It's a highly hydrophobic, reactive sulfur species. But what does that actually mean for you and me? Well, it means this compound can easily slip right through the fatty outer membranes of invading bacterial and fungal cells. Once it gets inside, it binds to their essential enzymes and just completely deactivates them. It is quite literally a natural antimicrobial powerhouse created right before your very eyes.
Which brings us to Section 3, flavonoids, the colorful protectors. Long-term cellular armor. Now, this is where things get really fascinating, because while garlic relies on those volatile, explosive sulfur reactions we just talked about, onions utilize a completely different, highly stable set of protective compounds. It's a really stark contrast. On one side, we have allicin from garlic. Like we said, it's an organosulfur compound that is volatile, heat-sensitive, requires actual mechanical damage just to exist, and acts as an immediate antimicrobial weapon.
But on the flip side, look at quercetin from onions. This is a flavonoid. It's highly stable, it's naturally present in the plant tissue right from the get-go, and rather than acting as a quick-strike weapon, it actually acts as a long-term anti-inflammatory antioxidant. Really, it's the difference between a fast-acting first responder and a stable, long-term suit of defensive armor. Let's officially meet some of these flavonoid superstars, which are heavily concentrated in onions and leeks. First up is quercetin. This stuff is a master of cellular signaling. It doesn't just passively bump into free radicals, it actually tells your genes to turn down inflammation. It also acts as a mast cell stabilizer, meaning it literally prevents your cells from releasing histamine, which is exactly why it's so amazing for people dealing with seasonal allergies. Next, we have camphorol. Think of this as a gatekeeper for cell growth. It modulates signal pathways to stop abnormal cells from dividing, giving it some seriously powerful chemopreventative properties. And finally, anthocyanins. These are the beautiful pigments that give red onions their gorgeous color, and they serve as absolutely incredible free radical scavengers. Okay, Section 4, full body health benefits, from micro to macro. So, having looked at the really beautiful biochemistry of these sulfur weapons and flavonoid armor, let's kind of zoom back out for a second. Regular consumption of these combined alliums provides an incredible full-spectrum array of therapeutic advantages for us. For your heart, they act as vasodilators, literally relaxing your blood vessels to help lower blood pressure and improve cholesterol profiles. We already touched on their antimicrobial magic, binding to pathogens to shut them down, but incredibly, they also play a major role in cancer prevention. Studies show they can induce cell cycle arrest and apoptosis. In plain English, they signal damaged or cancerous cells in the GI tract to just destroy themselves rather than multiply. And as if that wasn't enough, specific onion compounds actively interact with insulin pathways in your liver to help regulate blood sugar. I mean, wow. But honestly, here is perhaps the most fascinating mechanism of all. Remember how reactive and sort of stressful allicin is to cells? Well, when you ingest it, allicin causes a tiny bit of controlled stress in your own cells, and that mild stress actually triggers something called the NRF2 pathway. Basically, this is your body's internal antioxidant alarm system. By turning this alarm on, allium compounds essentially trick your body into producing its own massive wave of powerful internal antioxidants like glutathione. So you aren't just eating antioxidants, you are literally teaching your body to build its own. How cool is that? All right, let's bring it all home. Section 5, maximizing your allium nutrients. Culinary applications. We've learned the science, so let's translate all of this incredibly rich nutritional biochemistry into actionable, everyday pro tips you can use in your kitchen right now. Honestly, if you take away absolutely nothing else from this explainer, please remember the 10-minute rule for garlic. Remember how allicin is created by an enzyme? Well, guess what instantly destroys that enzyme? Heat. If you chop your garlic and instantly toss it into a hot pan, you're killing the enzyme before it can even create the medicine. So here's what you do. Step 1, crush or mince your garlic. Step 2, walk away. Seriously, just let it sit untouched on the cutting board for at least 10 minutes. This gives that crucial chemical reaction the time it needs to fully complete. Then, step 3, now you can apply the heat and cook it, knowing you've successfully locked in all that magical allicin. And here are just a few more kitchen pro tips pulled straight from the science. First, do not waste the skins of your onions. That powerful quercetin we talked about, it is heavily concentrated in those dry, papery outer layers. Peeling away too much means you're literally throwing away the medicine. Instead, wash those clean outer skins and simmer them in your next bone broth or soup stock to extract the antioxidants, and then just fish them out before serving. Next up, keep the greens. The green tops of leeks and scallions are absolutely packed with vitamin K and tons of flavor. And finally, because allicin degrades pretty quickly, even at room temperature, if you really want its maximum antimicrobial benefit, try consuming your garlic raw, shortly after that 10-minute resting period we just talked about. As our source material so perfectly summarizes, by including a variety of these vegetables, you provide your body with both a first responder to acute stress and long-term defensive armor. I think that just brilliantly captures the incredible synergy of the whole allium family. It proves that nature really designed these different foods, the volatile garlic and the highly stable onions, to work best when they're eaten together. That's how you get a truly comprehensive shield for your health. Which leaves us with one final thought. You now know the microscopic science behind the savory flavors we all love so much. You know all about the enzymatic traps, the volatile sulfur weapons, and that colorful flavonoid armor. So, what hidden chemical reactions are you going to trigger on your cutting board tonight? How are you going to change the way you prep your next meal to maximize your health? Thanks so much for learning with us today on this explainer, and hey, enjoy that extra dash of garlic.